It's your girl Iconoclast. Thank you for joining me in this second episode of Hell and Back series. Oh Lord, my heart. Relationship series. What's love got to do with it? I would say nothing. So you might say, what does? Well, you've heard your creators, but of what, you ask? Energy, the unseen thing. Boys and girls, welcome to Terra Firma, aka Earth. There's duality here, or rather illusion. Boys and girls, let's take in the contrast from without, that we may develop awareness of what's within. Now let's begin this series of Hell and Back. Oh Lord, my heart.
Yeah, there we
My
go.
co-host, boys and girls, essentially. Moral evil is primarily about a disordered will. For only a being with intellect and will is a moral agent. And that is why irrational animals are not treated as moral agents and held responsible for what they do. They literally don't know any better. And this is why our show today, our second episode, Hell and Back relationship series, entitled "Oh Lord, My Heart," properly entitled.
The heart.
Okay, well, before starting the show, I always like to start the show with wise words that have already been quoted.
Okay, what's your wise words today, Ms. Iconoclast?
Intuition does not come to an unprepared mind. Out.
Ooh, yeah, that sounds pretty good.
But I was actually blessed last quarter to understand a lecture that was given by Dr. Greg Braden titled "The Heart Brain and Its Coherence," which was really talking about like how the cells, like really they're specialized cells that communicate with the neurons in the brain from the heart to the brain.
So if I want to understand you correctly, uh, let me just reiterate this. You're saying that there is a intellect emotional connection. Is that correct?
That the heart is a powerful electrical circuit board within your biochemical structure, creating waveforms which can be read and filtered, which I would call, or from my understanding of that lecture, is the heart mind. And then there's the mental mind. The mental mind rules the consciousness, while the heart mind rules the subconscious mind, is what I had come to form within myself to know. And then the emotional body kind of filters the results. The emotional body kind of filters the results of the heart and mental mind and the effect of the balancing or lack thereof. The two minds either causes harmony in the emotional body and the state of the emotional body, or an illness in the physical body. So I'm thinking that the mental mind rules the consciousness while the heart mind rules the subconscious mind, is what I had gathered.
Okay, so that begs the question of if all of this is connected and then we have so much illness, physical illness in the world, do you think there's that physical illness is tied to a lot of mental illness or vice versa?
I do. I think that is okay. Well, before starting the show, I always like to start the show with wise words that have already been quoted.
Okay, what's your wise words today, Ms. Iconoclast?
Intuition does not come to an unprepared mind. Out.
Ooh, yeah, that sounds pretty good.
But I was actually blessed last quarter to understand a lecture that was given by Dr. Greg Braden titled The Heart, Brain, and Its Coherence, which was really talking about like how the cells, like really they're specialized cells that communicate with the neurons in the brain from the heart to the brain.
So if I want to understand you correctly, let me just let me just reiterate this. You're saying that there is a intellect emotional connection. Is that correct?
That the heart is a powerful electrical circuit board within your biochemical structure, creating waveforms which can be read and filtered, which I would call, or from my understanding of that lecture, is the heart mind. And then there's the mental mind. The mental mind rules the consciousness, while the heart mind rules the subconscious mind, is what I had come to form within myself to know. And then the emotional body kind of filters the results. The emotional body kind of filters the results of the heart and mental mind, and the effect of the balancing or lack thereof, the two minds either causes harmony in the emotional body and the state of the emotional body, or an illness in the physical body. So I'm thinking that the mental mind rules the consciousness while the heart mind rules the subconscious mind, is what I had gathered.
Okay, so that begs the question of, if all of this is connected, and then we have so much illness, physical illness in the world, do you think that physical illness is tied to a lot of mental illness, or vice versa?
I do. I think that is the process of the filtering. Absolutely. Whatever, like I say, the heart is a very powerful electrical structure. So it has its own brain and mind, and it kind of understands things to an eternal level, whereas the mental mind can only understand things, on a subconscious conscious level. So it's polarized, whereas the heart mind is eternalized, I'd like to say. In relations, I think it's a big need to shift from the thinking mind to the heart. So thoughts are feelings of the brain, and emotions are feelings of the body. So if we could shift from thinking, shift from the thinking mind and aim to be in the emotional heart, then that would filter a lot of things in the physical body by itself.
Okay. So where do we go from here? What does this have to do with my everyday life?
Well, I think that would be like a flashback, probably to like the first episode of Hell and Back relationship series, where we discuss love's concepts and origins, and just really aligning and knowing your love style and bonding patterns and concepts and origins of what, that fictional concept of love was. So I think it's about knowing the balanced degree of your emotional will to align with a.
So we have to realize that I'm different from you, you're different from me. I, I'll experience some things different than you. You will experience some things different than me. And
Well,
to respect that.
and to discuss that, or to have that be known. And so today we're discussing, oh Lord, my heart. And this is basically just in general when things are not balanced, such as the fear, like you say, the coronavirus, that they got massive grave sites down in New York where they're burying what they call the unclaimed bodies. of the New York citizen for the coronavirus. So, I mean, the things that are happening at this time right now are just, implausible. So it's not only a spiritual attack, but it's an attack on the planet. Just the environment, Mother Nature, the animals.
Everything.
Yes.
Everything is under attack.
Basically.
So this is a time that we're admonishing our audience to really take charge of your heart. Watch your heart. You know, when we were growing up, they say, watch your back from gang rivals. Watch your heart from all of the evils that are going on right now. Because the pandemic, I think, is evil. It's an evil thing that's it's cloaked into this small package called a virus, coronavirus, and it's unseen, just like emotions, unseen. I can't see your emotions.
Right.
It's unseen, but nevertheless, I'm under attack. My physical body is under attack, so my emotions are under attack.
Yeah,
Oh Lord.
Oh
Lord.
Lord.
My heart. Oh Lord.
Yes. After so long, how much of that can you take?
Iconoclast is. Do we have anything else we want to discuss in this series? On this, oh Lord, my heart.
And we want to discuss an ancient myth.
I could tell you this. I used to read a lot of mythology, and I read the story of the Narcissus. And Narcissus was a person who was very beautiful and who ran about doing everything that he wanted to do. And he only concerned himself with his feelings and his thoughts and his well-being and his pleasures. And one day, when he bent down to take a drink out of a lake, he saw himself, he saw his reflection and said, wow, I'm beautiful. He just stayed there and never moved. He just concentrated on himself.
Curse, right?
So there's some things we could learn from that. You don't just stay any place. I mean, if you stay there,
that was his punishment. I do believe
that was his punishment.
He has stayed there in love with himself and died of
starvation. Yeah, he didn't have nothing to eat or drink. He just was there.
Whoa, no.
So we don't want to be accused of just being there, a bump on the log, stagnant, never growing, never progressing, never going anywhere, just there, just looking at ourselves. I don't want to be like that. I don't think anybody else in the audience wants to be like that. What do you think, Iconoclast?
Well, I agree. I really do. I think a large portion of us like to remain strategically distant from, a lot of stuff that shuts us down, a lot of stuff that makes us uncomfortable. And that's why it's sometimes easier, for one to accept a liar. But I think that it's also time for us to envision a world that fully embraces the healthy feminine and the healthy masculine instead of the gender differences. Let's make a distinction between the benevolent and destructive.
Right, absolutely. That's right and wrong. That's moral. But
in making that discernment, you have to make the distinction between, again, the benevolent and striking that healthy balance with a healthy intention of closing the gap, healing wounds.
Right.
There's all kinds of everything, betrayal, manipulation, violence, control
Right.
on every level and every aspect is to heal and close those gaps. Is our main thing, is our
But then you need to be really concerned with
who you with. That's my main thing. Now I'm starting to ask, and who sent you?
and who sent you.
Yes. Joining me via Anchor, my cell phone. Okay, your audio kind of trying to come in. Hey, Macedonia just joined us. Thank you, Macedonia, for joining your Girl Icona class. I got my co-host, Eccentric, on the line.
Hey, Macedonia, how you doing today?
Yeah, we're all here. They're joining me Anchor through anchor.fm via my cell phone. I got you guys connected via my webcam. We're all here live. Yeah, we are family. I got all my people with me. So right, but we have the type of relationship I would call philia or filial or platonic. It's a brotherly, sisterly love. We have mutual respect. And again, I denounce the concept of love. We know that love is usury to one degree or the other, and that it was derived from a Greek concept or word called agape, which was an unconditional alignment of energetic will toward the creator for the creation toward the creator. And it was misconstrued by the necromancers due for religious purposes take take unnaturally, to take unbalanced like emotions or alignment from people. Basically, it's like I want you to align to my will. I want you to align to this will, and it benefits me not. Absolutely, absolutely. The necromancers with this religion. Absolutely. within us, from creator to creation. And it allows us to know the truth. We need not seek approval. We need to approve more of ourselves. And this reminds me, I was trying to date, and this is why I don't date, because I really don't believe in relationships. Now, I believe in relations, but the most important relation is that with myself and that with my creator. And when I find that relationships intrude in that, I'm done. Like, that's a deal breaker. MJ, goddamn Aikens, goddamn Kakalaki. I would like to discuss with you the concept of unconditional alignment and just, how it is, that you feel about aligning unconditionally with another person and just your views on that concept, love itself. As far as dealing with relationships and things of that nature, because I know at one point you had mentioned that even a long time ago, that you just wanted to be long-term friends, like have long life friends in your life. Like you knew that from early on. Like, how did you come to that understanding? Like, were you scorned? Were you burned? Because I denounced love as a fictional concept in my first podcast. And it was because I realized that when people use the word or concept love, they're actually talking about usury. They're talking about something that's not equally balanced, as well as something that's probably more of something to just deal with or something that's passionate, eros or storage, which is the actual real words and meanings and concepts of those type of relationships. Now, how did you come to gather that you would prefer long life friends? Is my question to you, MJ. Help us out. Okay, I guess that's why, the old school always say, well, it's like a lesson or something to learn. And really, if you could recognize your own feelings and things of that nature, it wouldn't be anything to learn other than you really being with you and allowing certain things to unfold naturally. So I get the gist of what you're saying as to why you prefer that, because people rush in head first without really feeling their way through it or allowing and being able to discuss that type of thing. So I think it's a matter of discussing how you feel, what you desire, and not being afraid of those emotions, but to feel those emotions and express from that what it is that you want, what it is you're willing to align with, what it is you're willing to accept, not tolerate. And this helps us to create boundaries in relationships, helps us to know one another, helps us to accept one another, be more compassionate to one another. What do you think?
Yeah, and you get into remember from a different parallel plane of existence. When you come into the three dimensions of life, it has certain urges and chemical responses that you let the things that get in control of your own, of your mental, what your mental state of mind is. And so that's what you perceive as love. And all your chemicals are burning. We feel so good together. And that's logic is the objectivity and focus on love is all time. It's just a chemical response that you feel feeling. That's how they see it. But they say it. They forget about the spiritual and the other things that go on with love. They feel compatible display that should be enough. And no, it's not.
I know a song just came to mind. I don't even know who sings it. If you guys out there know, let me know. People wonder how I do it. Oh, there's nothing to it. Am I gonna be alright? My bad. MJ, thank you for sharing that. I'm sure somebody out there resonates with that and understands exactly what that alignment is and what it takes to align to that degree. All right. Well, join us anytime at anchor.fm/beyond-ether. You can leave us a message. You can join us anytime. Leave your comments, any concerns, any query. I'm always here with you, for you. Willing to discuss relations and relationships of all kinds and at every aspect to all degrees. But go ahead, Eccentric.
Okay, so look, I want to just start off with this "Oh Lord, my heart."
Yes.
So let's start out with something, emotional. Okay, what does emotional balancing mean to you?
And that's a great question. Now, you say emotional balance?
Emotional balance. What does that mean to you?
Oh, emotional balance to me means that I have a homeostasis, meaning a balance within every aspect of myself, harmony, peace within myself on every aspect, spiritual, emotional, mental, physical,
Great.
every
Great,
level,
great. So, oftentimes in life, things happen, traumatic things happen. They just kind of pop up and they hit us at the emotional pool. How do you stay balanced when something happens and it hits you at your emotional pool real hard, real tight? You weren't expecting this. Matter of fact, you were expecting something else. You had in your mind, I'm going to enjoy this day. I'm going to celebrate my birthday. I'm going to celebrate Christmas. I'm going to celebrate Easter. And then
right outside of this one church town,
the day happens. Well, that's like every day,
This is God's country.
Okay, so how do you stay balanced with all
We
these
pray
things
for
that
rain and thank Him when it's falling, cause it brings the grain and a little bit of money.
Well,
We
you
put
stay
it back in the
balanced
plate. I
generally
guess
just
that's
by
why they call
knowing
it God's country.
or having just peace within, just a general, just accepting in the moment. I think just accepting in the moment and being at a point of allowing and receiving peace, allowing harmony, then I believe it won't be far behind.
Okay, so in other words, would you say you have to be a very mature person to, when something tries to, when a dysfunctional event happens that threatens your harmony, you look over that and you go past it and you say, I'm not going to let this and interrupt me. I'm going to be happy anyway.
Well, you never want to look over anything. Now, some things can be okay that is not all right. Yeah, so there's some things that can be okay. That does not mean that they are all right. So you deal, and sometimes you can heal. You know, your main thing is to heal a situation, but sometimes you just got to deal with the situation, and especially in relationships. And this is why I had chose to have a podcast such as Hell and Back, because relationships can really take you to hell and back, because there's such a vast array of emotions that can be felt, especially when you aim to align agape, unconditional alignment, willing to do an unconditional exchange. So you're gonna go through it, because then people are not used to this. People may not want to return this, and there may be some unbalance.
So
The heart, this week's title, or rather theme, Oh Lord, my heart. And we were discussing how the heart has a brain, the mental mind has a brain, and the effect will show up in the emotional or physical body. And I think, Eccentric, you had some experience with the heart and overcoming some challenges or emotional difficulties. You want to share that with us?
oh, of course. Yeah, I've had some times when I had some heavy emotional stress. And I think ultimately it ended up causing me to have some difficulties with my heart. But those things, now that I've gotten my emotional and mental state in balance, those that heart, the physical part, has actually healed itself. Now I can tell you just a little bit about those things that caused me to go into palpitations or somewhat, and that was when about 2 years ago when uh, my daughter refused to allow me to adopt my grandkids. Those baby boys were sent to a couple that a lesbian couple, and it really doesn't matter about the sexuality at this point. It was just the fact that the
It
boys were,
concerns you.
well, the boys were given to somebody who was not their family. They're not their blood relatives. And, I grew up in a family where I was not the blood relative of my dad. And I always wondered, why are we so different? And those boys are going to grow up. Why are we so different? Why why do I think like this, and why do they think like that? And is there anything wrong with me, or is there anything wrong with them, or why are we not connecting on that? So I grew up in a family where my dad was a great athlete, but I wasn't. I was a reader, engineering, philosopher type individual who always wanted to read books, nose in books. At one time, I wanted to be a medical doctor, and not because of the prestige, but I just loved the human body. It was just It seemed to be my calling. But that was some of the concerns I had when she decided to give the children to non-relatives, because and that pained me inside, deep inside, and the pain that 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 internalized came out as a rhythmic, a hard arrhythmic. Uh,
Okay, and now was that due to the filtering, you would say, or to the degree of not being able to express those emotions? I think discussing how we're feeling, what we're feeling at the time we're feeling it is very important. Were you able?
and it's both of them. Not being able to adequately discuss, because it takes many, many, many hours of counseling. And, we've gotten together and took a shot or two and talked all day about
Okay.
feelings, and I wasn't able to do that. I just kind of had to move on and work. And so I didn't really express all those things. So that was the filtering part. And then the other part, that not being able to talk about it, and then not, yeah, and then to a degree, a large degree, not being able to communicate, suffering abject rejection from a loved one, or so I thought was a loved one, that created a firestorm. And anytime you're really angry, your body reacts. Whenever you internalize a lot of anger, your body reacts, and it comes out in those palpitations and abnormal heartbeats. And for me, what they call abnormal heartbeat is when the top chamber doesn't beat on time with the bottom chamber. So the top chamber is not expelling all of the blood that it should out of your heart, so you can get blood clots. So they advise that I take aspirin to thin out the blood. But now that those things are gone, and that I prayed about it, accepted what went on, uh, my heart has been healed.
Mind, the heart brain meets with the mental mind. What happens is, like you say, that top chamber with that bottom chamber. And when those synapses are not balanced, because it's human to want forgiveness, have understanding.
Absolutely, I agree 100% with
And
that.
when those things don't filter equally or it's unrequited, oh Lord, my heart, because that's going to cause a
Yes,
problem in not only the emotional body, but the physical body.
right. So I'll tell you about one other time when my heart began to heal. And this is when I had a friend, this was several years ago, and I was going through some emotional duress. And I said, I don't think I've ever hugged you before. So she took me in her arms and she hugged me for about 20, 25, 30 seconds. And man, after all that, I was like, I just kind of melted. I was like, okay. And from that point on, my whole life just changed. It's just I guess just being held that long, and just being cared for. I think that's the main thing. Being cared for. Just that started to heal some of the problems that I had experienced, and so now I'm able to come out. But those things are very important. The touch, the feel, uh, the communication, the
Expression of human
yes,
nature is within
yeah,
our nature
yes,
to
yes,
have an alignment to an unconditional type of acceptance, uh, nurturing, compassion, joy,
right.
acceptance.
So from that
Yeah.
day, yeah, from that day forward, I've been feeling a whole lot more accepted and a whole lot
To
I could
know
express.
that you're celebrated, to know that you're wonderful, and that the opinion, either way from whomever, is positive, is
Right.
encouraging, is inspiring, is uplifting.
And I love that lady to this day, and with all my heart. Yeah, she really did something for me to take me under her wing and just hold me close to her heart. I could actually feel her heartbeat, and I don't think I've ever done that before. I mean, you do sometimes when, but that was not a sexual moment. It was just a feeling moment.
More of filial, philia, a platonic type of love. Well, a platonic type of alignment, emotional alignment.
Right.
So yeah, we need that unconditional emotional alignment coming from the heart center, not necessarily the mental mind. The mental mind is more earthy. The heart mind is more eternal. So those two have to connect and correspond and balance, you know. And when they don't, like I say, something in the emotional body or something in the physical body, up until we can gather the homeostasis. And again, we started the show with a popular quote from your boy Albert Einstein: "Intuition doesn't come to an unprepared mind." So we have to be aware of how we feel, and how we feel has to matter to the degree that we're willing to align our emotional compass or wheel to something that feels good, to something that brings joy, to something that is beautiful, to something that is kind and charitable. So to fully understand and not give up yourself to the degree it can be damaging and so fragmenting. Oh Lord, my heart. Which takes me to an experience I recently had with some family members. Again, fourth quarter 2019 was a hell of a time for myself. And I lost my auntie Dobie. And at the time of losing her, it was like I just thought about everything we had not had the chance to experience. How she had not ever got out of the state of Michigan, or I'm unsure. I've never even had the chance to have a conversation with her about travels, about her teenage life, about her marriage, and sticking in there now. All of my aunts and uncles and stuff like that have been married like since I was born. These are couples that have hung in there, that believe in devotion, that believe in loyalty, honor, honesty. And I love the strong women and men in my family because of that principle. But I lost my auntie. And what I noticed about that, it fell off her soul, is something not all the way right in her, in the heart space, in the heart mind. And when we can't balance what's in the heart mind, we will have certain illnesses in our physical body. I want everybody to understand that I believe that I lost my auntie due to really heartbreak, not understanding the real concept of love, that is usury. If you don't mandate and understand and align to certain will. And it's important for everyone to go ahead and check out the first podcast, Love's Origins in Greek Concepts and Philosophies, so that you get the gist of the alignment will that has to happen for one to have a balanced relationship, because his word is not the type that they talk about. And so what some people have that's most unconditional is platonic relationships, relations of philia, agape, and the relationships that we need to stay away from is the whole puppy loved ones, those of storage natures, those of eros, and just, passionate lust. Because there's a lot to learn in those type instances in relations. We discussed that in our first podcast, so please stay here with us. Always visit us. Leave us messages if you have any comments, any questions. Get at us. Myself, Iconoclast, or my co-host, Eccentric, anchor.fm/beyond dash again. That was anchor.fm/beyond ether.
All right, Iconoclast. I think that was well said. There are a lot of people dying.
Eccentric, I lost a cousin. I didn't really get to spend a lot of time with my cousin. And this is why myself and my cousins right now, we got the coronavirus popping off right now, and I'm not able to see them, but I lost a cousin, 29. Heart attack, stroke, my folk told me. Good.
Yeah, I mean that's terrifying. That's terrifying.
When I was coming up, I wasn't even heard of this, but lost a cousin, 29 years old, a heart attack. And what I'm believing is because that my cousin's generation, they like 10 years under me, didn't grow up the same way as I did. When I was coming up, we had the cousins every weekend. We hanging out, we spending time together. I'm walking to their house during the week. You know what I'm saying? Like we grew up together. It's the crazy part. And that was due primarily to my aunties and my mom and them, because a lot of them go hard about putting the kids together. It was important for the kids to go together, to get together. And once we all get together now, they separate the girls from the boys. They're, the family, like the boys doing this, y'all girls, y'all gonna go do this. And they hang out and we do that. It's playing Get Down. And again, this podcast and the other podcast is a call out to the soldiers, to the clansmen. And you guys, you'll know who you are because your search stuff will resonate, and you'll know. I tell you, she's not. So again, yeah, lost my cousin. It broke my heart. So
oh Lord, my heart.
Oh Lord, my heart. And so this is a time to just stay aware of how we feeling. Again, God gave us off the Christ principle, the navigational compass inside of us, which is the heart. The heart is your compass. It guides you by telling you how you feel. Are you panicky? Are you full of anxiety? Are you feeling warm and nurtured and comfortable? Are you feeling uneasy? Well, these are little simple aspects or nudges from the universe or from the greater force, the God force, God being a generating, originating, destroying force, nudging just to figure where you're at so the laws can grasp and kind of help you co-create this thing. And this is how they will in me. This is why it's important for us to change it for the next generation. Yeah, so my cousins and I know we're video chatting on Zoom, you know what I'm saying? Actually 30 of us, like I've never seen, like it's more that's gonna be linking on. We're gonna be doing this thing like every week or every 2 weeks. And there's always different family members on there. You never know who. You gotta scroll like it's a new thing for me. And it's great. I just wish to God my other cousin could have, really experienced this. I didn't even never hang out with him or really know. I'm talking about cousin, forgive me. Forgive me. Oh Lord.
Oh Lord, my heart.
My heart. I got y'all, cousins. I love y'all. I love everybody. Like again, this is a call to the clansmen, the soul tribes, everybody that's feeling this and willing to be aware, to stay mindful. You're part of the tribe.
Everybody needs to be part of a tribe.
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am, boys and girls. Brought to you by Iconoclast. As
And
always,
eccentric
I thank
as the
and
co-host.
eccentric, my co-host. And as always, we thank the so many of you for your donations and just your support. It helps with the overall production of our podcast, future productions. And again, thanks to all of you. So we're gonna wrap up this segment of Beyond Ethers Helen Back series, covering relationships of all kinds.
I like to say and leave y'all with just pray hard, stay steady, find somebody, reach out, touch, hold hands. It doesn't have to mean anything. It just means
Right,
that you're
give
alive.
hugs,
Give
give
hugs,
kisses.
give
Don't
kisses.
automatically assume when you see two people it's about some pussy and dick stuff. Like that's
Right,
my biggest pet peeve, bro. Like I hate when
right.
like people automatically assume, oh,
They stroking. They this. They that.
right. These people may
Yeah.
not know each other, guys. They may be in a position of getting to know each other, what they call dating, courting,
Yeah.
which is like almost turning into an old school concept.
Right. Right.
Before people got married back in the day when I was coming up and when my moms was coming up, especially, it wasn't no shacking. They called that shacking when you moved in with somebody y'all weren't married. That was not a good thing, boys and girls.
Oh no.
When
No.
you were engaged, folk, that's still like a courting phase. That people slept in different beds, boys and girls. People had their
Yep.
privacy, they had their space. So I'm understanding this COVID-19 thing. Give me 50 feet, you know what I'm saying? Because we all have to allow each other to be beyond ether. I mean,
Beyond
you know what I'm saying?
ether.
Beyond the ethers of what was what we see. We have to feel these things out and allow one another to grow, allow one another to evolve, allow one
Right.
another to feel and show and express emotion positively.
I agree with you 100%. Iconoclast.
Yes.
100%. Grab somebody, hold them for more than 2 seconds,
And hold
and
yourself,
hold
when
yourself, and
you
put your
can't
arms
get
around
to
you.
nobody, so you know how it feels, so that you got enough in you to give
That's right.
someone. It starts with us. Each
Hold
one reach
somebody.
one. Like
That's
it's
right.
each one teach one.
Reach out, touch, and when COVID-19 is over, yeah, just don't hesitate. Don't hesitate. I know right now we have to hesitate. But when COVID-19 is over, when we're back in normal society, don't hesitate to reach out and help another human being to express some love to them and have some compassion and empathy and sympathy on their behalf because everybody is going through something.
Yeah,
I
even
don't
the
I don't
necromancers wrote, give a brotherly hug,
That's right.
a brotherly hug, a brotherly kiss, meaning platonic, philia type of love. Be
Right.
okay with it. Be compassionate. Be generous and giving.
That's right. Absolutely.
So the more we know, the more we can grow, and the more we understand, the more we can proceed. The more we proceed, the more we can concept and perceive more, understand more.
So that opens the
interpret.
doors. That opens the doors for more to come in. The more you hold out and the more that you let go, it opens the door for more to come in.
And yeah, when you hold out, you're blocking. When you uh, allow, you can receive.
That's right. Absolutely.
So we're gonna close out. Be ye not deceived, boys and girls. Always know that. And until next time, keep those things on your mind.
And this is your boy Eccentric out.